Hey guys, welcome back. Gosh here with Crimson Gray, Dusk, and Dawn. So last time we saw the progress was true. Lizzie did, volunteer to go to a group thing, which she normally would not do. But at the same time, we did see a bit of a problem there when she learned about Aaron a little bit more. She began to see him as a threat based on how close he was to John. But she didn't kill him. She didn't. She did go red, but we didn't really get that overwhelming option to kill. So that was a good sign, hopefully. So let's keep going and see where we go. The days passed freely enough, and they drifted closer to the end of the year. No threat materialized, but not much changed either. Lizzie was happy for each precious day, though, and clung closer to John. Things were easier now. She only wrote in her notebook occasionally, and often showed him that she'd written, and often showed him what she'd written. Notice she is still using the capital H, but we also see that she is doing it less, and she is being more open about it, so we're definitely seeing some movement in the right direction. Classes remained tolerable, but she didn't have any problems with obnoxious classmates or other people. Despite all the attention surrounding the speeches, and the potential overhaul of the FDCA, everything just stalled in committees. Aaron and a few others, kept campaigning, but interest overall died down. Ooh, that's a little rough. There had been a little tension surrounding Aaron and his group, with John wanting to be involved more. Though Lizzie tried her best to hide her anxieties, he still noticed that she was uncomfortable when they were around others, and so, wonderful person that he was willing to withdraw. So they'd spent much of their time together, which was bliss. It could work that way forever, couldn't it? John was an introvert anyway, and she could provide everything he might possibly need. That would be ideal, but Lizzie wasn't certain. It was, unfortunately, impossible for them to be together every second of every day, and despite her best efforts, she was not perfect. Maybe it would be better to develop some kind of secondary defenses, but that would mean giving him up to others temporarily and other unacceptable risks. Lizzie pondered everything as she chopped up the vegetables for that day's meal, enjoying the knife work, while she thought. John was casually reading on the couch, and smiled when he felt her gaze. This was bliss. And you can kind of also see the glow here around the screen. I think that's also meant to symbolize her bliss here. Oh. Yep. Oh, I love it. Okay, sorry guys. I know that's probably something obvious again, but just in that confirmation, because you see immediately once we get that door knock and the unfortunately, it's gone. That blissful aura that we saw, that light aura that we saw around them is gone. All right, so again, just love the symbolism in this game. It's actually really well done. Unfortunately, a moment later, someone pounded on the door. Yo, I won't interrupt you, lovebirds, but you want to turn on the news? If he said that, it must be something significant. Lizzie wasn't sure exactly what they had said, but John had spoken to Aaron about needing more private space. Covering for her, of course, which was wonderful. Though Lizzie felt slightly uncomfortable about the whole thing, John had managed to set everything up smoothly. Aaron was already moving on, leaving them to glance at one another. After a pause, John got up and flipped through channels until he got the one they wanted. First rampages in American history. We have just received a report that one of the students in critical care has unfortunately passed away, bringing the total to 11 dead and 2 wounded. Lizzie moved to the couch beside John in a flash, eyes fixed on the television. Even though she wasn't completely certain why, the news was filled with reports of murders. Of course, but the ratio immediately caught her attention. John glanced over to her with a thoughtful look. Why would Aaron call us about this in particular? The fact of the incidents are still coming in. One of the most basic facts must have been relevant. That's a good point. Maybe. It's scrolling at the bottom now. I recognize that name. It's a town with a major Koitek factory, just like their hometown. He didn't need to say. Distracted by the exact report. The violence, Lizzie had not noticed the fact. She didn't know the name, in any case. It made her heart warm to think that the two of them complemented one another, but she was still in a state of rigid alertness. With a lull in updates, the news program was bringing on guests. There was a Koitek representative, which was incredibly suspicious even though he was only making a statement of condolences. After that, an academic was brought on. COVID got to me, guys. I can't see academic without saying epidemic. He was introduced as an expert on violent killings. That sounds like a great person to have around, an expert on violent killings. Good to know. Which immediately attracted her interest. After pointless introductory questions, things got more interesting. Until the police decided to release direct evidence, is there anything else we can determine about the crime? What's notable is how few were injured compared to those killed. Regardless of the weapon used, that's an unusual statistic. And what does that tell us? It might indicate that it was a crime of passion. The individuals killed were targeted specifically, not randomly. Even those hospitalized were severely injured after all. But what could cause a student to go on such a rampage? Well, emotions are always strong in high school. No, that wasn't right. The death-to-injury ratio had caught her attention as well, and the expert had identified it too. But he was wrong about that. Lizzie didn't want to jump to conclusions, but this is horrible. But do you think it could? Breaking news! The police have released video footage captured during the tragedy to the media. Children and sensitive viewers may not wish to watch the following clip. Neither of them blinked. The news switched to grainy footage from the security camera on an empty hallway for a few moments still. Then a student began crawling across the floor, leaving a trail of blood, broken arm cut to the intestines. Designed to cause pain instead of death. She couldn't see the student's eyes, but she was sure there was an animal fear in them. He was panicking, just trying to get away. A girl appeared on camera. She moved casually, but surprisingly fast. Swinging a baseball bat idly in one hand, the student gave a mangled squawk and tried to crawl faster. It didn't matter. The girl lunged forward and brought the bat down onto his head. Though the blow was pixelated, Lizzie could practically see the spray of blood. The girl stared down at the body for a moment, face unclear. Then she finally looked up. Could Koitek be responsible for this? I'm saying yes. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Look at that face. Is that a Koitek responsible face? Yes. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Killers in real life also make faces like that. Like, I remember a particular one was the movie theater in, I think it was Colorado. like Aurora or something like that. I just remember that guy's face. Like he had a kind of crazy face too, but like, obviously not this dramatic. A mad grin on her face. With a peal of laughter, she lunged away, vanishing from the screen. For a few seconds, the footage was only the corpse set to the sound of her laughter. Then it cut out abruptly. Yeah, I'm trying to think about. I don't really watch mainstream media too much, but on the news, I'm thinking like on actual TV news, can they actually show scenes of the crime itself? Because the only thing I actually seen that I think even clips of was the church, the one in like Church New Zealand or whatever it was, where they went to the mosque. That one. But that guy uploaded the videos himself, I think, or he was recording it or live streaming it or something. I remember there was some kind of thing about that. That's how they got out. But, yeah, you don't typically think of seeing it on the news. You think that would violate some kind of, is it FCA? Whatever it is, you know, the people that moderate the television thing. Only then did Lizzie realize that she was on her feet and holding her knife. Her reaction had been instinctive and instantaneous. John looked a little concerned and touched her arm. Lizzie, you're right, She sat down on the couch beside him and carefully set her knife a few inches out of easy reach. Normally, she might be ashamed of herself, but her heart was still beating too rapidly. Lizzie did her best to focus on the broadcast. Remind everyone that the suspect was killed by police at the entrance to the school. Her identity and the identities of the victims are still being withheld for the sake of the families. But if anyone has any information concerning... John turned the volume to a low buzz, then looked toward her. His eyes were hard and serious in a way that normally excited her. But given the circumstances, she was too tense. I know it's early to jump to conclusions, but she was like me, yes. The words felt strange in her mouth. Though. This random girl couldn't possibly be like her. Not any more than the other girl in their hometown. She didn't know of another way to say it, though, and she trusted John would understand. Not like you, but the way she moved. You don't think that was natural, do you? No. She used more strength than a normal girl. When she swung her bat, and she was almost as fast as me. In the moments they'd seen during the video, at least, which might not reflect her full speed, Lizzie again had the strong urge to eliminate the girl, despite the fact that she was already dead and couldn't possibly harm John. Miss Smith said there was nothing sinister about it. Just experiments gone wrong. But for this to happen here, too. Remember the meeting? Wojtek prefers to rush through testing with multiple simultaneous experiments. Oh, good memory. I hadn't realized you were listening that closely. Lizzie smiled at him, a little of the tension draining from her. Yes, she was still here beside her John. There was no threat. She needed to quiet her instincts. That didn't mean that they were safe, though. There could be much broader threats due to the changes that would happen. She was certain she knew much of the information that would come out about the incident, but after that, it looked like John's thoughts had gone in a similar direction, judging from his frown. Do you think this will be the end for Wojtek? Will this be what they need to bring reform? To her surprise, John leaned against her and breathed a painful sigh. With emotions running high, she hadn't realized how unhappy he looked. No doubt, he was thinking of many unpleasant events. I don't know. Maybe. It will bring down Koitek. Maybe it would just make things worse. We don't know. John. She held him closer and stroked his hair gently. Fortunately, he did seem to lighten slightly under her ministrations. They sat there together for a while, watching as the news continued. Meaningful information was coming slower now, but that didn't stop the broadcast from trying to stretch things. And since new information did come out occasionally, she felt like she needed to keep watching. Though it shouldn't have gotten to her, Lizzie found herself more and more anxious as they continued. What would Koitek do if they felt threatened? Could this be part of some much larger scheme? Even if not, what could happen to them? The incident with her and John had been suppressed and gotten no media attention. But this was such a public event. Horror slowly crept up within her mind as she imagined an army of Miss Smiths swarming schools around the country, giving out more medication to prevent another such incident. Parents would probably welcome it. She understood human psychology that much. Somehow, someone like her might have been targeted. Worse, someone like John would have even less chance. Lizzie realized that she was chewing on one of her fingers, hard enough to draw blood, only when John gently pulled it from her mouth. Oh, look at him. He clearly doesn't feel comfortable about himself. He's clearly uncomfortable about it, but he's still trying to comfort her. It will be okay, Lizzie. Whatever happens, we'll get through this together. She nodded and then hugged him tightly, taking refuge in his embrace. He was right, of course, but only if they devoted their full attention to analyzing the potential risk. They stayed together for a while longer, but it seemed like the broadcast had even less information now, despite all the emotion. Lizzie found herself strangely blank. She wasn't sure if she wanted to forget this had happened or take precautions. Unfortunately, it seemed that John was similarly uncertain, glancing to her just then. So, what do you want to do now? Forget about it for now, search for more information, or train to prepare for arrival. So, train and prepare for arrival, it makes sense, right? But, and here's my thing, I think if we do that, it's going to lead to her, her instincts kicking in more and more, and her instincts are what we're trying to dull a little bit. Not her instincts of preservation, but her instincts to kill. So we're gonna cross this one out for now. Forget about it for now. Again, might be good, but I think searching for more information is the right option. So that's what I'm gonna go with here. We need to learn more. Whatever happens, it can't hurt to get more information. I suppose that's true. And it's not like we were overworked anyway. Talk to Aaron, maybe, and check out the computer lab. Yes, let's do it. Though normally Lizzie would have been happier to stay inside with him, given what had just happened. It was soothing to learn more. They only learned a few new facts, but they kept the tensions within her at bay. Yes, and that's what we wanted exactly. Keep the tensions lower. Don't have a freak out, don't have an event. She glanced at John with concern, hoping that all their activities hadn't been too much for him. But he still seemed fine, and smiled back at her. As she fell asleep, Lizzie tried to ponder what this would mean for them. All she was sure about was that she wanted to face it at his side. Alright. And we still got some really intense music going, but I think this is a great point to actually go ahead and close the episode here, because we're, jumping to several days later. So anyhow, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Once again, if you did get to this point of the video and you are not already subscribed, I hope you do subscribe so you can come back for more, as we will definitely have more content. And, I'm not sure how many more episodes this will have, because again, it's been a long time since I finished it. It's been a few years, and which was actually great for doing this recording, because I think it allows the experience to be much more fresh, as again, the memories aren't fresh in my head, so everything's pretty much new to me. And I hope that helps with your guys' experience of it as well. Once again, I think we had a little less outside conversation, so again, unfortunately, when this one's recorded, I haven't heard your guys' feedback on the other ones because I'm trying to get these all recorded in advance, because I don't want to leave you guys without uploads again, like I did before these videos were released. So again, guys, do drop in the comment section for anything you thought was interesting in the video, anything you want to comment about, anything you want to see, or just anything you want to say. You just want to talk. That's cool too. Again, guys, I appreciate you so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Love y'all. Laters.